All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a while from a nice long open live Q&A, but I wanted to come back to you guys, start the brand new school year, and go through another live stream answering your guys' questions. So I'll be taking some math questions as well as any other general questions that you guys have going back to getting ready for the upcoming year, finishing off, exam season is coming up, and sometimes we have exams right after break or some tests and everything else, getting back into the groove. It took me a little bit from break to kind of get back into the routine. And actually, to be honest with you, I even forgot about the Sunday night live stream because I was like, you know what, for this year, I'm going to take a break, and I'm just like, I'm not going to think about YouTube. I'm not going to think about going live. And I'm just going to kind of like enjoy my weekends, enjoy my break and everything like that. And and then I was sitting there watching the Lions game, Detroit Lions, who, are going to the playoffs. I was like, holy crap, I totally forgot to even schedule a live stream to go through this. So I was like, you know what? I really enjoyed going back through the last couple Q&As that we've had, for you guys have submitted questions and math questions, and I went ahead and gone over them. So I figured one thing I think I'm going to just continue doing is be that outlet for you guys to go ahead and submit questions, and I'll answer them. And then if you guys have questions inside the chat, then you guys can go ahead and post those questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you guys on there. So let's see. Why is that not showing? There we go. Hey, Ahmed. Good to have you on from Egypt. That's awesome. Good to have you on. Why are you so cool? That's my question. I don't know. I've been trying to figure that out ever since, I've been young. Why am I so, no, just kidding. It was actually funny. I was actually at the store today, and the guy checking out, he's like, this is going to be a weird question, but do you make math videos? And I was like, I do. And he was like so thrown back. It was such a funny thing. He's like, yeah, man, I used to watch your videos a lot. When I was going through high school and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's really funny. I really appreciate anybody that, or at least I really appreciate my videos have been able to help you guys out with that. And that's why I like going through these live streams. And hey, Raph, good to have you on. Can you make full trigonometry concepts and rule videos? Be a little bit more specific. I have a ton of trig videos, but I've kind of slowed down on my channels because it's always been kind of tough of like what to make videos. I mean, I have over 12,000 videos on my channel. And one thing that I have done is I have decided, or at least feel like I still like making videos. I still want to create videos, but it's always kind of tough on where to put videos on what channel. But I am going to be continuing doing that, putting them actually on some different channels. So you guys will see that. I'll be talking about that coming up. And I hope you guys are excited for that, because I think they'll give people a much better trajectory of watching my videos rather than on the main channel, where it's much more of a hodgepodge of kind of concepts and topics and, and kind of stuff like that. What topic do you think you struggle with most with when foe? Not really sure what that means, but I will say one thing that I struggle with, I remember most, was one thing when I was younger was fractions. Fractions just didn't make sense to me. It was something I don't think I ever like really conceptualized or understood when I was growing up and learning math. And that was definitely something that hindered my ability to be successful in math. And going beyond that, I remember much more when I got into like abstract algebra and all that kind of stuff. I remember I really kind of struggled like making that I can't use abstractness, but using that very vague term of like really conceptualizing and understanding all the things that were going on. That was very difficult for me. So there's a little low level and then a high level. Oh, when filming a video. Well, I mean, struggling with something, I'm filming a video, I'm not really sure, I don't know. I mean, there's always videos that I'll make mistakes and stuff like that. I think one of the hardest things that I have when I'm making a video is sometimes my energy, because when I was teaching, if you guys know, like sometimes I'd have low level energy, sometimes I'd high level energy. I didn't really care. I recorded every single video that I was teaching and then would just put it on YouTube. Right. But now, And a lot of times, even when I had low energy, like I would get energy from the students. And so I don't think that really came across in a lot of my videos of me having low energy. You guys could, I mean, a lot of my videos are really bad. You can see I have low energy, but I think a lot of times when I didn't feel like making videos or teaching, I would get energy from the students. What's one of the hard things now about teaching from home is not having students right next to me. You know, you're in your studio making a video, and if you're not like excited about making that video, it comes across in how you deliver. And it's really difficult to kind of get yourself mentally prepared. And one thing I've just had to learn is like, when I'm ready to make a video, I make the video. If I'm not ready to make the video, I don't try to force it. And that's kind of tough, you know, because there's a lot of things in my day that I'm trying to schedule and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, I'll do 4 hours of videos, you know, this day. But someday I don't want to make a video. And it's been really difficult to, like, some days I'm like, all right, I'm going to do all this stuff. Let me go and plan some videos. And then I'm like, I get really excited about making that video. And then I'm like, I don't have time to record this video now, but I'm like, you got the energy, go for it. And that's usually when I think I make my best videos, is when I have that energy and stuff like that. You can know some about graphing reciprocal functions. Well, if you have a specific question about reciprocal functions, then you can go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. So go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. And why did I have, let me go and see. No, not that. Let me actually put it in the description. I think it's in the description. I can go and put it in for you guys. I'm not sure. Oh my God, I don't have it in there. I'm crazy. Sorry, let me go and pull this up for you guys real quick. Oh, jeez, come on. There you go. I don't know why that's looking like that. But you guys can go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. And that is where you guys can get that questions answered from on there. All right. Hey, let's talk about, I finally completed the calculus series in college. It feels amazing, though there were so many times I thought I wouldn't. I made it through flying colors, but I made it. Awesome. Congrats to you. Yeah, I got to go back through my calculus. That's one thing why I created my channel, my calculus topics. So I will be doing that. I got this year. I got to be able to do it. I got to make some calculus videos. It's been way too long, and I apologize for that. Generating an inverse tangent of 3x. I have a final exam. Well, the good news is with the 3x, that is going to be a horizontal stretch. No, horizontal compression. I'd actually have to go and double check that. Because, yeah, that's going to be horizontally, so that would impact it. Make sure you know what the domain is of there, and that might be, yeah, it's going to be divided by 3. So make sure you know the domain. I believe I'd have to be able to double check, but make sure you know the domain of your inverse tangent. And then, yeah, it's going to be 1/3. I'd have to double check. I have to go back through that math. That's been a while since I've gone through that. But I have the notion that it's going to be 1/3 of that domain from on there, because that's going to be that horizontal compression from on that. But if anybody knows, you can help me. Feel free. Do you do physics? Heck no. How do you know if your function on a graph is vertically stretching or shrinking? So it all depends on where the transformations are. If the transformations, let's just take the transformation x squared. If it's outside the x squared, like that's plus, right? Or if it's 4 times x squared, then that is going to be what we call 4 times x squared, or x squared, like plus 4. Those are what we call outside transformations. Anything outside the function is going to be a vertical transformation. Vertical shift up, down, vertical stretch, compression. Anything that's inside of the function is going to be horizontal. So that'd be like parentheses for x squared, or I'm sorry, parentheses 4x quantity 4x squared. Or if you had, x plus 1 quantity squared. So anything that's whatever's being squared, that quantity, that would be considered inside of the function. And the tough thing is, like, different functions have different ways of being them inside, outside. Like cosine, right? It's like the cosine of, so whatever is you're taking the cosine of, that's considered inside. If you're doing like exponential functions, anything that's in the power is considered the inside. When you're doing square root, it's anything that's under the radical is considered inside. So just remember, anything outside is a vertical transformation. Anything inside is considered a horizontal transformation. I like that video, actually. It's a good question. I'm going to come back to that one. Highest level math I taught was Calc AB. I look at your vid, but it was confusing. Well, how am I supposed to respond to that? I don't know where you're confused, or maybe it was a bad video. Maybe it was a bad explanation. Maybe you didn't have the necessarily knowledge to understand it. I don't know, but let me know and I can maybe help you out or try to make it better. Apologies. Are you passionate about anything more than that? Yes, I am. I love math and I love teaching. I would say some passions of me are YouTube. I really, really do love YouTube. I love the growth of YouTube, or just like the challenge of YouTube, not the growth, the challenge of YouTube. I love education just in whole. And I'm really passionate about education and providing a quality education for all students. I'm passionate about sports and, rugby, football, baseball, wrestling. I really love those sports, and they gave a lot to me growing up. There's a lot of hobbies, and stuff like that, but if I was going to say passionate, I would say YouTube, math, and education for sure. Can I have some tips in learning trig identities? There's a lot of tips. I think the main thing is like trig identities, like always work on that most complicated side. And I think knowing like the tool chest of like what to look for, that only comes through practice. It's very, very difficult. Like, how do you know how to do this? Like a lot of times people, it comes through practice. You got to have practice working through identities. So that's what I would recommend the most from on there. It's like the more you do, the better you're going to get. And that's about as simple as I can get it. It's not a fun tip to provide to you, but I think honestly, it's the best truth is, getting a lot of practice with them. Hey, Mr. Weller, I just got back from winter break, and in a few days I have my first ever IB math midterm, and I feel like I completely forgot the topics. Any tips? That's tough. I feel I never had to take an exam after winter break, and I can only imagine, it's like, I think there's so much benefit to taking a 2-week break and just allowing your brain to like reset, re-energize, and get ready. And when you have to kind of like recall a lot of that information throughout the break, it's tough because I don't think there's a way for you to really properly put your foot off the brakes in terms of studying and remembering things over break. And if that was the case, it's a balance. I understand that, but now you got to come back and get ready for things. I think you just need to have some really, really tough days ahead of you of just really trying to go back through all of the material again and really trying to study and recall as much of that information as you can. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be easy, but I think if you took that break, now you got to make up for missed time. And I don't think that's ideal for any student, but it's the reality of what you're in. So make the most out of it. Put in the work and then take the exam and then move on from there. Yeah, I'll work on that. Hey, Mr. McLogan, I'm a teacher who subbed for a number of years ago. What do you miss the most about not being in the classroom? And what do you not miss at all? So the thing I miss most about the classroom, I think, is just the interactions with the students, seeing the students every single day, and just getting to know them, getting to know their personalities, getting just the kind of the ebbs and flows, I think, of the whole school year. I miss the transformation that the students get to make. I miss the struggles that they have, and I miss the successes that they get. And I think that's something you can only really achieve inside of the classroom. And the things I don't miss is the grading. Don't miss that at all. That took up a ton of my time. And I don't miss the emphasis on grades that a lot of parents and students brought, It's like you spend all this time grading and then not all you do, but a lot of times you're just critiqued for what those grades, produce and everything like that. And there was just a lot of pressure on teachers, a lot of pressure on students to go on those grades. And it really kind of stripped away that focus on learning. And I think that's a big disservice to education. And I'm hoping that's something that I can, try to help change. At 180 degrees is sine positive or negative? How do you deal with trigonometric ratios when they're at values of? So what I would do is I would just go back through the unit circle. And if you look at the unit circle, main points that you need to know, like you said, is those 90-80s. Those are going to be at the court. Those are going to be where the unit circle is going to intersect the X and the Y axis. So if you look at the unit circle, I'm visualizing it in my head because I've seen it. I know it so well. And you go to 180 degrees, that coordinate point is going to be -1, 0. Well, -1 is the X coordinate and 0 is going to be the Y coordinate. So sine of 180 degrees is 0. So therefore it is neither negative nor positive. But that's how I deal with those angles, is just have the unit circle on there because your 4 points are 1, 0, 0, 1, -1, 0, 0, -1. And then the cosine is the X, sine is the Y, and you're good to go. Can you talk about solving system equations graphically? Sure. What do you want to talk about? If you have a question, go and feel free to add it into brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and I'll try to address it there. Can you code? I cannot code. You're very welcome with them. How about we help you out? A little bit. I mean, I know how to play chess. I'm just not very good. I never trained or was properly ever taught or strategized. My daughter's in chess club, so she's starting to learn. She's in first grade though, but she's getting the basics. But yeah, it was never ever something that I grew up playing. It was, just kind of so I've only played probably less than 20 games in my life. So not a lot, but I do find it fascinating. I do like to sometimes watch it and learn a little bit more about it. It's just never anything I've dove deep into. Yes, I think that's the best way to understand and complete trig identities. The best thing that I'd probably ask you to do would be to submit this on brianmclogan.com/Q&A. But I'm not seeing any of these asymptotes. PQ. I mean, I think you're going to have, whatever your asymptote is, anything that's not going to be divided out from the denominator and the numerator. So that's what you're going to focus on. I don't know. I never had to take stats or calc on anything, but I would say for most students that I know, they would usually say that stats was easier than calc 1. I think when you're deciding what to do, I mean, obviously you can just take whatever the easier one is, but I think it really is important to kind of think about where you want to go, what you want to do with the classes that you are taking. That comes in with discussion over your parents, your teachers, and your counselor, and just kind of see what is going to be the best fit. Maybe you do need a little bit more of a challenge. Maybe slowing down and just taking an easier course is better for you. There's so many variables that go into choosing your courses. I think that not always just saying the easier course is going to be the better, but that is something that you sometimes do need to consider based on your workload and where you want to go. What's the way to get ahead in my curriculum? It's an interesting question. I think one thing that I would make sure that if you're going to be getting through with your curriculum is speaking with your teacher about making sure that you know where you're going. I can't imagine your teacher would have a problem with you doing some self-learning ahead, but you also don't want to do self-learning of stuff that's not going to be incorporated, part of your grade or whatever else. Obviously you can learn whatever you want to on your own time, YouTube or the book or whatever. But I think if you want to learn ahead to make sure that you are setting yourself up for success. And then also if you can complete the curriculum, a little bit on your own, a little bit faster, then spend some time going on some outside topics if that's something you are interested in. But I would just make sure you have a syllabus to follow so you know where to kind of look ahead. And your teacher can confirm that for you, your professor. So therefore you're just not wasting energy before the the work is completed. I think the most important thing is you to, focus on your current grade and everything there. And then you can kind of go from there as far as doing some extra topics that you want to. Why is math so hard for some students? Well, I think it's the same thing. Why playing sports is hard for some students. Why drawing is so much harder for some students. You can say it's like natural, and some people are just naturally not good at math and blah, blah, blah. But I don't accept that everything that we had is like we're born with these talents. I think a lot of it comes with the experiences and what we're exposed to. Now, obviously, if you have parents that grow up being, that are painters, like you're probably going to have a stronger foundation than somebody that doesn't have parents, that are painters. But there's also some people that just have some like those natural tendencies, that also see things in a little bit different way that lends them to their strengths in art, in mathematical thinking, or in sports or anything like that. But I really do believe it is a lot of what I say, like the exposure and the experience, and what I like to call, the maturity of your brain to understand the math. And I think with math, this is something that's critical that we don't focus on enough in math education, is that not all students are capable or should be tested that they should be learning math at the same time frame or level. Like, I think it's just crazy that we have students moving up to the next grade or moving past the kind of like, we just like, all right, move them on, and they're just not ready to comprehend. Their brain is just not matured to a certain point to comprehend the information. I tell people all the time, I did not take calculus until my sophomore year into college. They're like, what? You're a math teacher? I'm like, how did you? I'm like, my brain was not ready to understand and conceptualize calculus until sophomore year. And you're like, I took pre-calculus my freshman year, and then I had to take an algebra class and pre-calculus like freshman year to to make up for some of the things. But I think what it was like, there was a lot of holes in my understanding. I didn't fully grasp or understand some of the stuff. But I just kept on getting pushed forward. I just kept on moving on. And then more and more stuff kept on putting upon on. And then you could easily make the argument, math is hard. I'm not a good math student, blah, blah, blah. But what I've realized is a lot of times for students to be able to understand math, or for math not to be hard, it really understands of like giving it time, giving yourself time to understand, digest something, provide mastery of it, and then move on. And it's crazy to think that we all have to move at this same scale and comparatively be okay with that, right? It's like, I'm never going to be 6 foot and play a great basketball and be a great basketball player. But it's like, I don't know. It's like we just expect people to have the same talents and meet certain thresholds at different grade levels and then move on. I don't know. So I to answer your question, a short answer, it would just be time. I think people need more time to understand the math and more practice from on there to make math not as hard, because then you get more experiences. And sometimes your brain just needs more experiences to understand what you're doing. Awesome, Avery. So happy to help you out. There we go. We got that. I need to. I apologize. I'm going to focus on doing one for the final. Okay. I'll get you for the final. I'm not going to have time for the midterm, but that's something I need to do. I agree. Yeah, I taught AP pre-calculus, AB. Yeah, I taught AP calculus AB. All those videos are on my pre-calc or calculus channel. I don't know. I never taught IB calculus or IB calc, so I'm not sure. But I would say they're both going to have very similar complexities you need to deal with. I'm taking pre-calc in college after not taking math for a couple of years. What concepts should I start from last minute to be ready to study so I'm not totally drawn in? I would just focus on excuse me, I would go back through. I think if you can provide yourself a strong foundation of algebra, I think that's going to be the best thing. You know, I'd probably go through an algebra 2 curriculum, focus on the algebra topics, not so much of like the stats, or, you know, you can do some of the light trig, like unit circle, some graphing. You know, you're going to go back over that kind of stuff. And I think once you kind of have a general grasp of that information, like, you'll be okay. But definitely what trips up a lot of students, where students really start to struggle in pre-calculus and calculus, is the algebra. So I would focus on a lot of things in like algebra 2 curriculum, like a lot of the algebra stuff, like rational functions, polynomials, quadratics, build up those skills. And I think that will set you up for success. Yeah, those have a lot, from on there. For something like that, I always just kind of sketch them. So I'm not really too concerned about, you know, I think you need to understand that whenever you have a number in front, like that 3, that is going to change your y-intercept. So if you just had 5, right, that's going to be the same graph. If it was just 5 to the x, or e to the x, or 2 to the x, those are all going to have the same similar curve, and they're all going to cross the y-intercept at 1, 0. However, once you have a number in front, that is going to change your y-intercept. So that's going to change it from, instead of 0, 1, it's now going to change it from 0, 3. Additionally, you're going to have your -2 that's inside the function. So that's a horizontal transformation. And then you have the +1, which is going to be a vertical transformation. So therefore, the 1 point that you know is on the graph is going to be, it was originally at 0, 3. It went shifted 2 units to the right. So now it's 2, 3. And then it got shifted up 1 more. So it's 2, 4. And then you just have that normal shape graph. Hopefully that was helpful. And you'll have a horizontal asymptote at 1. Actually, I like that question. Good for you on that. Let me actually write that one down. I like that. There's a 5x. You might see this on a video coming up. I came to the end of last year for geometry saying that I was doing extremely poorly, and I ended with a C. It's the hardest C I've ever worked for, which is crazy considering I typically get above that. We focused up and did as good as we could. I didn't learn well with that teacher I had during that year. But it's looking up for us in Algebra 2 this year. Awesome. Congrats. I love that. A little bit. See, you got this. Just keep on working on it. Keep on doing practice. You got this. I believe in you. Yep, I taught AP Calculus AB. I would have to go back and review it. The correlation coefficient. I'd have to go back and check. Y squares for the coordinate plane. Well, the coordinate plane is going to be in 2 dimensions. So you're going to have horizontal and vertical lines, and they cross, then they're going to make a square. So I'm not sure what else shape you're looking for, but yeah, that's where you're getting it. Hardest AP topic. I would say like the applications of the integral, and, you know, anything you're applying, like not actually doing, but the applications of the derivative, application of the integral. I would say those are usually the most difficult topics for students to do, especially like on the free response problems, you know, from in there. So thank you for giving my students a second outlet to learn on what they can't. Way I've shown them in class. I'm a physics, math, and chem teacher here in Canada. Well, awesome. So happy to be able to help you out, or your students out. I appreciate it, and have a great rest of the year. How do you solve composite figures with problems? I don't know. So word problems. I think the main thing is like you got to be able to figure out what the figure is going to look like and then go from there. How'd you go about filling gaps from Algebra 2 pre-calculus before taking calculus as an adult student returning to community college? Well, filling in gaps is kind of difficult, because I think for filling in gaps, you're going to want some kind of like professional advice in that regard, because like when I'm tutoring somebody, I can ask questions and I can understand, what they don't understand. Right. And so I think when you're trying to fill in gaps yourself, I think that's something very hard. That's like self-diagnosing your illness. Like, yeah, sometimes you get it right, right? And then sometimes you're like, oh, I know what this is, or I'll just take this medicine. And then you're like, what the heck? Why is this not working? Like, what is wrong with me? I don't know if that's a great comparison to go through, but it's just what came to my mind. Like, obviously you probably know some topics that you're weak on, some topics you need to practice on. Like, you can self-diagnose a lot, but I think if you're really trying to get a ramp up from on there, like, and trying to diagnose everything you need for those gaps, probably having like a tutor or something else to really kind of give you that ramp forward. But if you're just looking for a good review, I would just focus in, like from calculus, I would just focus in on to be honest, I would just focus on a pre-calculus curriculum. I think if you go through a pre-calculus curriculum, that is why pre-calculus is named pre-calculus. Like, it will give you a good foundation of the algebra and the trig that you need to be successful in calculus. So if you just want to focus on that, I think that would suffice the most for you on that. I'm taking calculus as a freshman in college. Would it be wise to start learning calc in the summer? I've heard many advise against this. I mean, I'm not against it. I don't know. I mean, I have no problem with students taking or doing work and over the summer, but it's like, what's the point? Right? Are you trying to like take a summer course? Well, then take a summer course. If you're not, I mean, and you want to keep things fresh, then yeah, spend some time like reviewing some topics or maybe learning a little bit more like about this. But like, it's not a race. It's not a competition. Enjoy summer for what it is. Have fun and like do something different. I think take a break from education. And then when fall comes around, put 100% of your effort in going to school and doing everything you can. I'm not against it. I want to know more of the motivations of doing it. Like, I have no problem with you keeping the math fresh in your brain, maybe spending like a week, or a couple days a week, like just reviewing some math, going from there. I have no problem with that. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know. I think there's also some benefit of just exploring different avenues and focusing on different parts of your life and fun. And then when fall comes around, put in the work, and I think that's where I don't want you to get burned out from doing so much over in the math. Like I said, you're taking the class, so you're going to learn what you need to learn. Obviously, I don't want you to, fall behind, but I'm like, put in the effort. You're a student. You're a full-time student. That is your job. That is your focus. Put it in when you go back to school. But I think in the meantime, be a kid, have fun. Yeah, I would agree. Like, I've never taken a summer class, but if there was ever a summer class I would take, it never would have been a math or a summer. Like, it's just fast, and it's okay for some people. Some people are capable of doing it. I think you just need to know who you are and what you're capable of to do it. But then also like ask yourself the question, why am I taking? Sometimes you need to catch up. I get it. Sometimes you want to advance and you want to go somewhere else. Like, I get it. But I think a lot of times people just want to do it because they want to push themselves. And it's not necessary. And then they put unbeknownst pressure and time on them, and it's not needed. My teacher is a D1 yapper, and last test he gave the average score across his pre-cut classes was 50%. The class ends up trying to teach themselves. That sucks. I apologize for on that, just for our educators. I mean, I've had tests where students got like 50%, but I've always went back to analyze why that happened and what I could do as a teacher, from on there. But I think the good thing is, you're right. I mean, there's going to be bad teachers. There's teachers that are not going to be able to reach out, but it's like, it's your duty to learn the information. And thankfully, you're in a time now where education is not dependent on the professor or the teacher, and you have the ability to learn the information. It just stinks that has to be your experience, going through it, but take control of your own education and learn the material, the teacher for what it is, go from there. I do not like that at all. unless there's a really a need. You know, the only time I'd advise somebody doing a doubling up is like if they transfer schools and like a credit doesn't apply, so they have to get a credit for that course, even though it's something they already passed, like at another school. I mean, or if you're trying to go to the advanced math, it's just, I don't know. I don't like it. I know some students can do it, but it's like taking math over the summer. It's just not meant for everybody. So I have a big red flag when I see students that want to do that. But it could be right for you. I'm not saying that. I'm not the person to tell you you should or you shouldn't do that. Talk to your math teacher, talk to your parent, talk to your counselor. I'm not the person to make that decision or to sway that decision. Just from my experience as a teacher, I don't like it. I've seen too many students that they've struggled under that circumstance. Well, it all depends on like the point system of what you have, what your teacher's working for. So ask them. I don't know which units, subject topics I need to know to study. Any other check required units, subjects, part 2. I would just, as an interested, how can I study College Board's information? Yeah, I would find a book from a publisher like Barron's, or I'm not affiliated with any of them, but I would just get an SAT, ACT booklet and go from on there. I think that's the best. I'm struggling with math, really beginner stuff. I was wondering if I need to fully understand the multiplication table to be able to keep on algebra. Yes, I think you should fully know your multiplication tables. I think that is something essential for your success in later mathematics. I don't do P and Z scores from on there. Sorry, no stats. I have exams. I know I have to study hard, but I'm feeling to do where to study mainly math and physics. Wait, I have exams. I know that I have to study hard, but I'm feeling to do where I like to do study mainly math and physics. What should I do? I mean, some things we don't want to do, but we have to get them done, right? I think you just need to write down what you need to get done, why it's important to do it, and, you know, swallow the frog, like get the stuff done. Not everything is going to be enjoyable or fun for you to do, but some things just need to be accomplished for us to move on or for us to be able to get our larger goal. So maybe write out, what is your larger goal? What are you trying to achieve? And like, what are these things that you don't want to do, but they need to get done? They're a part of it that you have to be able to accomplish. And then you don't want to do it, but you realize this is something I have to do. All right, I'm going to go and get this done. So then I never have to take that course or worry about that, class again. All right. So hopefully that is helpful information for you. And hopefully you guys have had a good start of the new year. And I look forward to helping you out and answering your questions throughout the rest of the year. I'll see you guys next week.